As absurd as it sounds, users have been trolling Michael Jordan and his era of basketball. Users on TikTok and X dug up certain clips from the Chicago Bulls legend's playing days, where he struggled to handle the ball with his left hand. Along with Jordan's apparent lack of a left hand, users are also criticizing the 1980s and 1990s era for not being nearly competitive enough. Multiple users have been flooding social media with Michael Jordan lowlights. As seen in clips posted, Jordan seemed to struggle with his left hand. Many users have also shared clips of other legends unable to perform plays that are considered elementary by the average NBA player today. The phrase, "we done with the 90s," has been trending because MJ's competitors apparently allowed him to dominate the era despite having no left due to their apparent lack of competence. The 1990s was just a great all-around decade for modern culture and style. Whether it was watching Will Smith in The Fresh Prince, Biggie and Tupac going at it for rap supremacy, or MJ dominating the game, the 90s impact on our society is still very present. While some are going to argue the 80s was the best decade for the NBA, featuring stars like Magic and Bird, the 90s brought in an abundance of talent that have become Hall of Famers, and some of the players that we have grown to love and idolize. There were not as many friendships like we see in today's NBA in the 90s. In fact, there was some real bad blood between a lot of teams and players. Every marquee player in the 90s wanted to win, and that meant no type of association with anybody from any team. With so many fights and brawls, you could tell players really did not like each other. Only a handful of NBA players playing in today's game could have survived the physicality of the game about 20 years ago. Fouls weren't called every second, and hand-checking and hard fouls seemed like they were allowed. When legends such as Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, and Dikembe Mutombo protected the rim, there was not a lot a small guard could do. In the modern NBA, we have seen guys like Derrick Rose and Chris Paul dominate the game on the ground. But if they decided to take the ball in nonchalantly back in the day, they were headed to the ground. Yahoo Sports senior NBA writer Vincent Goodwill spoke with Shaquille O'Neal about the ongoing social media trend.
It's cute, but it's natural. Now let me tell you about it's natural. They always compare me to Wilt Chamberlain. I'm looking at his 70s highlights like, I would have killed this guy. So it's just, normal stuff. Like the stuff that we see in 2024 is way more advanced than the stuff we see in the 90s. So if you're a guy, especially on social media, and all you see is the 2024, and then you see 1990, you're definitely not going to be impressed by the 1990. But when I came in 1990, I wasn't impressed by Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or Wilt Chamberlain footage. They only had one or two moves. Nobody was banging them under the rim, and nobody acted like they wanted to fight them. So for me, being doing exactly what this generation is doing, I said the same thing about the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. So it's cute. I understand it.
There were some ruthless defensive players and teams back in the day. The Bad Boys were the most physical team in the NBA for a while and punished any players that challenged them in the paint. There were so many memorable brawls. Even one in which MJ had to fight his way against Reggie Miller. We witnessed MJ in his prime and the Bulls' dominance, capturing 6 championships. The 90s also gave birth to young stars like Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, and Tim Duncan. There will never be another era that embodied the talent the 90s brought. Even the current players have said it's easier to play in the NBA than in Europe, or under FIBA rules. When Luka Doncic was asked why he transitioned so well in the NBA after playing in Europe, his answer was simple.
Scoring is easier in NBA just because of the amount of the different rules, the less space, the time. So that's why I said it.
So you think it's harder to score 30 points in a EuroLeague game than it is in an NBA game?
Yeah, 100%.
Doncic's statement was further proven by the 2021 USA men's basketball team, who competed in the Tokyo Olympics last summer. Before they nabbed the gold medal in the men's tournament, the team struggled to adjust to the FIBA rules at the start, particularly with the officiating. Unlike in the NBA, there's more leeway for physical contact in international basketball. Damian Lillard, who played substantial guard minutes for Team USA, even went on the record to say Doncic was right. It's easier to score in the NBA because referees frequently blow their whistle when they see the thinnest contact between players. The Milwaukee Bucks guard also reiterated that there are specific rules that make the game easier for them in the States.
Best scorers in the NBA, they score from three and they get to the rim and they get fouled. And in FIBA, there's not as many foul calls. You're going to get away with a lot more. It's more physical. And there's also no defensive 3 seconds. So the paint is usually more crowded. So, forcing it into the paint is usually just playing into a crowd. The referees aren't going to give you the benefit of the doubt with a whistle. And, it's hard to play in the crowd. To score in the crowd, people that's just sitting in the paint, that's tough. So I think that definitely makes it harder to score. And when you're playing with FIBA rules as opposed to the NBA where a lot less contact is allowed, there's defensive 3 seconds, it's so many things that are different that allow the scoring to be, a little easier in the NBA.
If you've watched both the NBA and international tournaments like FIBA, it's not hard to observe the apparent disparities in how referees approach the game. For one, there's a reason why so many players depend on foul calls when it comes to scoring in the NBA. They know they have an advantage of the whistle because it's blown right away when they create contact. The style of the NBA has changed significantly since the 1990s. This is the subjective aspect of the era comparison. It all depends on what style of play keeps your eyes peeled and gets you excited. One major difference in the style of play, and one that leads me to prefer the 90s, is the emphasis on physicality. This era was known for its tough, rugged play, with hard fouls and physical play being a common occurrence. However, the current era of the NBA is more focused on player safety, which leads to a reduction in physical play. There are many fouls that are called today that wouldn't be called in the 90s. Player safety is extremely important, but the toughness in previous eras of basketball are more enjoyable. Amid the current trend, Jamal Murray took to X and posted a hilarious GIF. The fact that Murray picked a GIF where MJ seemed annoyed. It seems as though the 2023 NBA champ is siding with his idol in this social media beef. Jamal Murray has often displayed his admiration for his airness. Apart from constantly naming Michael Jordan to his all-time starting 5 lists, Murray has also credited Jordan for being an inspiration during his championship run.
I used to watch a lot of Michael Jordan growing up, so, my dad and I have been studying him, and that's where that comes from. Just watching film and wanting to do it in the game and practicing them and being outside on the court in Kitchener-Waterloo on the outdoor concrete, trying all that stuff on a double rim. So when I hit the court in a single rim, it's a little smoother to do it.
Like many other superstars in the league, Murray has grown up idolizing Michael Jordan. Hence, the disrespect that the GOAT has been receiving doesn't sit well with the Canadian. Admittedly, given how much Jordan has inspired him throughout his life before, and ever after he was drafted into the NBA, it is very hard to blame him. The current NBA emphasizes the use of the three-point shot, which was very unlike the league in the 90s. Teams used to rely more on driving to the basket and working the ball inside, rather than taking long-range shots. Now teams use the three-point shot as a part of their game, and some players often emphasize it as a part of their game. With more inside play, defense was also more emphasized in the 1990s. It seems like the amount of intensity and passion to the league and the games is less prevalent than there once was. Teams are more likely to put their passions to complain about a foul call on them rather than putting their passions to winning games and being left hungry for more when losing games. This has led to the 1990s being the superior era of the NBA over the modern era. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing NBA content.